I, 33 male, share one child, a young female, with my wife, 36. She has another daughter, a young teen that lives with us full-time. We also have custody of our niece, teen. The teens are each other's best friends. They share a large bedroom which was done at their request. So the dynamic here is mostly mom and youngest against the teens, with me being the referee between everyone. My wife has taught the youngest she can blame others for her actions to avoid consequences. She just says the word, and one of the teens will get punished without question. There's no doubt she's my wife's favorite. I love her, but she's becoming nothing more than an entitled brat. As just a mere example, my wife and I had an appointment we both needed to attend. When we came back, it was apparent the pool had been used. They're not allowed to swim while we aren't home. As the youngest divulged, "Mommy, I was in my room coloring. I never went swimming." The teen said that wasn't true. She had also gone swimming. Only the teens were punished. My wife refused to give the youngest any consequence. I later found her wet swimming suit hidden in the garage. My wife and I argued. I felt strongly she needed to not only be punished for swimming, but also for lying. After a relentless disagreement, I was silenced as she gave the youngest a very minimal consequence. The lying, blaming, and favoritism ultimately caused the teens to act out, understandably. Most of their consequences are done by giving more chores, specifically the youngest chores, or recently they were removed from music lessons as a consequence. I believe they're so frustrated, they don't even care when they verbally attack their mother after her unfair treatment towards them. After all, they already get blamed and punished for things they don't even do. From my perspective, lashing out gives them a release. We've had countless tiring arguments. She doesn't see her faults, or we'd agree to do this and that, but it was never done. So I decided to write her a performance review as a stay-at-home mom. Her areas in need of improvement, well, it was a lot, but I touched on how she needs to listen better and stop being biased. Be fair in all her decisions, and stop making rash decisions without considering all 3 kids. I recommended she give each child the same amount of one-on-one alone time to speak or just be with one another. So it wouldn't be an entire slap to her face. I gave her accolades on her strong points for other areas besides parenting. I guess I felt this would work best because I could organize my thoughts on paper without her interjecting. However, it quickly backfired in my face. She was quiet the first hour after I handed it to her. Then she completely exploded on me and said if we do this type of crap, she'll get a private bank account and take half my paycheck every week. She further said the review was abusive and a manipulative, misogynistic move. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Are you her employer? Because employers give performance reviews. Partners do not give performance reviews. Therefore, your family, including yourself, needs therapy. A lot of therapy. A lot of therapy. Then that's called everyone's the idiot here. The fact that you vote OP to be the only idiot here is confounding. He's so much less of an idiot than the wife that they're not even on the same scale. OP, she should be listening better, but seriously? A performance review? What kind of reaction did you expect? You're treating her like a temp worker, not your partner. That was unbelievably condescending. You seem to have a you versus me mentality instead of us versus the problem. Y'all need to find a way to communicate better in a non-adversarial way. It's time to get into couples counseling and talk about this like adults. You're all out of your ever-loving minds. Honestly, I'm saying you are the idiot, despite the wife's crappy behavior. If he's genuinely concerned about parenting issues or his wife is being emotionally abusive, why on earth would you write a performance evaluation? He's not her boss. What's he gonna do, fire her? What happens if she starts working and isn't a stay-at-home mom? Does her crappy parenting not matter if she isn't a stay-at-home mom? It is crappy misogynistic and entirely about her not working and not at all about her being a bad parent. And he's describing a wide range of parenting issues. I disagree. I was ready to call OP an idiot, but I can't. I think you acted in desperation because you see your wife favoring the youngest at the expense of the teens. You have the additional fear of her becoming a manipulative brat due to your wife's actions. You've got bigger problems here than an angry wife. You've got 3 kids who all need a stable home and to be treated fairly and equally, and the teens need to be heard. Somehow you've got to convince your wife that family therapy's in order. Good luck. My family, consisting of myself, 39 male, my wife, 38, and our 2 children, Alex, male teen, and Marie, female teen, moved last year because of my wife's job. Alex has had a rough time since. He had come out to us and his schoolmates as gay just a little while before he got the news that we were moving, so it was particularly hard for him. He had found a solid support system and felt safe where we lived before. That was taken away with this move. The place we live in now, while still in the US, is less accepting. Alex has made a few friends, but despite us being here for a year, he still hasn't really gotten comfortable here. Marie, on the other hand, really loves it and has been excelling at this new school thanks to clicking better with her teachers this year. This move did cause some tension between my wife and me, even before we made a decision. I know there's no easy time to move, but doing so during the transition between middle school and high school, arguably the most awkward time of a person's life, felt like a cruel punishment for our son to endure. My wife said it would make things easier since he'd be starting a new school either way. My wife has been very unsympathetic to what our son is going through. A few weeks ago, we found something in his room. While I was fully prepared to, number 1, make sure he wasn't self-medicating in a way that could lead to something dangerous, and 2, give him the don't be stupid, don't drive under the influence, and don't stink up your room anymore talk, his mom grounded him for 2 weeks and took away his phone every afternoon after school. This cut him off from his friends from his old school, further isolating him during an already hard time. This brings us to last week. I finally set my wife down and told her things weren't working. We tried it for a year, but Alex has consistently expressed unhappiness and discomfort. I told her it was time to start making plans to go back. She said that Marie was doing great here, that I always favored Alex as the baby of the family, and that we needed to give things more time. She also said both kids would be off to college soon. I replied that I wouldn't let my son live in discomfort for 3 more years before college. Also, my job and money I had gotten from my grandparents, a trust fund of sorts, more than covered our living expenses, and there was no real need for her to work. I said it was incredibly selfish to put a passion project ahead of her own child, and that being a parent meant sometimes putting our needs on the back burner while we do what's best for them. She was furious that I called her career a passion project and hasn't spoken to me since. I'm at a loss on how to move forward. Am I the idiot? Boy, a trust fund baby? Calling someone's career a passion project is a major idiot move. The context of your children doesn't apply here. You essentially said your wife doesn't do anything significant, which is hurtful and demotivating. Not to mention it looks like manipulation to get her to be utterly dependent on you. My favorite part was how we got all of that context, as if it matters or changes, that he called his wife's career, safe to say at least a decade of one, a passion project. He's completely sexist. His daughter's well-being doesn't seem to matter. His wife's career is a passion project, and he can control or support them on his inheritance. He's using his son as an excuse to get what he wants. Maybe get him some help rather than blame his wife. Yeah, OP, what if Marie, who's doing better than ever here, takes the same stuff when you move back? Will your solution be to move again? Why do you think moving back will be a magic bullet for your son? Teendom is challenging for everyone. You don't know if his support system would have held in the transition to high school. I suspect that you were happier before the move. You seem to resent your wife's job, and you likely resent the time her job takes away from you. You also like the power that comes from controlling all of the money. Moving back is what you want for you, and the bonus is that Alex seemed happier there too. You two need counseling both for your marriage and on how to help Alex through adolescence. My father has many faults. I'm well aware of these, and tend to keep our interactions private. I still love him, and I've developed a system to keep him from messing me over. When my fiance asked me to marry him, I said yes, and then I went and privately told my dad about it. We had a nice dinner with my fiance, and that was that. My future mother-in-law wanted to have an engagement party. I was fine with it. I just requested that she not invite my father. I explained that we had a strange relationship and preferred to keep him at a distance. She agreed. I guess she thought she knew better than me. She wanted to fix our relationship, and the first step was inviting him to her home for a party with alcohol. When I met my dad for dinner, I specifically chose a restaurant that didn't have a liquor license, and we went right after work. His car has a breathalyzer built in to make it start. I know what would happen otherwise. When I saw my dad there, my stomach flipped. I asked her what was going on, and she said that a good daughter would want her dad there on this important day. I asked her to please make him leave. She said I was being rude. I went over to my dad and asked him to leave. He promised to behave. He was so happy to be invited. I told my fiance that I might need to leave in a hurry and that he had to come with me when I left. He knows the whole story, so he agreed. My father was fine at the beginning. Then wine came around. I glared at him and shook my head no. He took some, then more, then more. He started getting happy. That doesn't last. After dinner, there were drinks. As soon as I heard him raise his voice, I asked my fiance to leave. I faked the stomach problem and we left. The least embarrassing thing he did was when he peed on mother-in-law's lawn. My mother-in-law is furious. She said we should have told her that my father had a drinking problem. I said it wouldn't have been a problem if she hadn't lied to my face about not inviting him. My father's humiliated that he did this, and I'm just numb. I'm just angry that she lied, and I need someone to tell me I'm not the idiot for not wanting to tell people my father's like this. Am I the idiot for letting my father cause a huge scene at my engagement party and embarrassing my future mother-in-law? Not the idiot. That's why your estrangement from your father and reluctance to have him at your engagement party is none of your mother-in-law's business. She thought she was being so clever. In short, she messed around and found out. So now your engagement party enters the realm of family legend, and not in a good way. I can't stand people that won't respect boundaries around family. You didn't want him there, and didn't need to tell her why in detail. You didn't embarrass her. She did it to herself by deciding she knew better than you. When someone says, do not invite this person, you don't go behind their backs. She had no right to question why you wouldn't want him there, and if she did want to know why, she could have asked you, or her child if she didn't feel comfortable asking you. It's 100% her fault for inviting someone you gave clear instructions not to. I'm sorry this happened, but I hope you have a wonderful wedding. Oh man, mother-in-law will stomp all over OP's boundaries, guaranteed. OP, I'll point out that your headline says, letting my father cause a huge scene. That's putting his behavior on you. You didn't let him do anything. These are the consequences of his actions. Don't take that burden on yourself. My friend Tara was in an accident about 2 years ago that put her in a wheelchair. She's able to stand for a short amount of time and take a few steps, so she's pretty self-sufficient, but she needs her wheelchair, especially when she wants to leave the house. The problem is that we live in an old town in the mountains that wasn't built with disabled people in mind. It's hard for Tara to get around during the summer, and it's nearly impossible during the winter, since we get a lot of snow here. Tara tells me a lot about how she wants to move out of the mountains to the city, but her husband doesn't want them to, because all their family and friends are here. My husband got a great job opportunity in the city, so we're moving there. We were having a dinner with Tara and her husband, and we were talking about us moving. Tara seemed happy. She said that if they moved there too, it'll be so good that we will already be there, and their kids would have friends there too, our kids. She told her husband that now they don't have to worry about being alone and not knowing anyone there. Her husband shut her down, saying that they had already talked about this, and they need the help their families are providing them here, and they can't move away. Tara said they wouldn't need so much help if she could move around more freely in the city. I took Tara's side and the conversation went on, until I started getting more frustrated and told Tara's husband that he's cruel for forcing his wife to live in the mountains where her mobility is so limited. He got angry, told me I have no idea how hard it is for him, even with all the help, and I should mind my own business. He's right that I don't know how it is for him, but I do know how it is for Tara, and that she's basically a prisoner here. She works too, from home, and she told me that they could afford it. Am I the idiot for what I said? You are the idiot. It was a couple's discussion that you should stay out of. You don't know what goes on in their lives, their marriage, or their finances. It could be they can't afford to move, and he's too embarrassed to say that. The accident happened to Tara, but her husband has been thrust into the role of caregiver. Caregivers need a support system too. Unless you feel Tara's in danger, mind your own business. How about spouses confined to wheelchairs who live in mountain communities? Do their opinions matter? As OP says, it's very difficult to get around in a wheelchair in this mountain community in the summer and impossible in the winter. Imagine needing a wheelchair to get around a mountain when there's a foot of snow or a layer of ice on the ground. She's literally housebound. No one in their right mind would want to be confined to a wheelchair in such a community. OP's friend is housebound because her husband is an inconsiderate idiot who won't make a move from the mountains. And he's not a caregiver. First off, he obviously doesn't care about his wife's needs. Second, his wife doesn't need a caregiver. She isn't paralyzed. She can stand for short periods of time. She can walk a few steps. Simply put, she doesn't have a caregiver because she doesn't need one. So, OP, thanks for trying to help your friend. You're not the idiot. I have tattoos. My fiancée, Valeria, has tattoos. I do not control her or tell her what to do with her body. We just got back from 3 weeks in the Philippines. Valeria isn't talking to me. She decided that she really wanted a traditional Filipino tattoo. Her grandmother's from the Philippines, and it was something she wanted to get on her to honor her. So none of this was an issue. What was an issue was that she decided to get it on our 4th day there. If you don't know anything about tattoos, just think of fresh tattoos as an open wound. So for the rest of our time there, she couldn't go in the water. She could shower, but that was about it. So nothing in the ocean except for sailing. She couldn't snorkel, scuba, parasail, or jet ski. Nothing. And she got mad at me if I went. Before she even got it, I said she should wait and have it done on our way home. Nope, not good enough. It had to be from this one artist who had time for her that day. I told her it was a dumb decision. I tried pulling up pictures of infected tattoos to show her it was a bad idea. She ignored me. After she got the tattoo, the artist's grandson told her the rules, which included don't go in the ocean, which I had already told her. She said that she had always wanted it and that we might not have had an opportunity to see that artist again. I would have made an effort to get her back there before we left. Now she's angry that she spent all this money and time on her vacation and basically had to sit by the pool and drink for most of it, like her mom and dad would do, is what she said. I don't see how her decision is my fault, but she's still upset with me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. That was a dumb decision. Can't fault you there, OP. But she sounds off her rocker. That's some toxic crap. Blaming you for her decision? Beware, my dude. Is this what you want the rest of your life to be like? So, in other words, a woman who does something foolish and then punishes you for it. That's what you want in a wife? For real? I'm heavily tattooed, and it's always a thing that you have to schedule around your life. I avoid getting tattooed in the summer because I like to be outdoors in the warmer weather, swimming, hiking, etc. And I don't want to worry about a literal open wound getting infected. I had thought this was common sense, and yet, you seem to be fairly supportive of her decisions and didn't forbid her from getting the tattoo on the 4th day, just warned her that it might screw with what she'll be able to do on this trip. I think she may be lashing out because she realized after the fact that you were right, but she can't admit that because she feels she needs to defend her decision. I would bet that this isn't the first example of extreme selfishness in this relationship.